Hello everyone, I'm Swati Sharma from Department of Management Study, and the next topic for discussion is population of India. So we discuss about the features of Indian population first. So these all are the features of Indian population. So first is large size and fast growth. This is the main feature of Indian population. As India is a rapid growing economy. According to 2001 census, the population of India is somewhere around 102 crores. And in terms of size, it is the second largest population in the world, next only to China. So whose population is 127 in 2001. But now it is like 135 crore if we talk about today's populations. So in addition to its size, the rate of growth of population has been alarming since 1951. And at present, India's population is growing at a rate of 1.9 to 2% per annum. Like 21 million people are added each year, so which is more than that of the population of Australia. So this situation is called the population explosion, and this is a result of high birth rate and declining death rate. Then second feature is second stage of demographic transition. Basically, there are three stages of demographic transition. In first stage, there is a high birth rate and high death rate, and second stage is a high birth rate and declining death rate, and in third stage, low death rate and low birth rate. So we are in the second stage of demographic transition. So the population growth of country passes through the three different stages, and we are in second stage. In like birth rate was somewhere around like in 2001 25.8, and death rate is declined to 85. So this led to rapid growth of population. We are expecting that India is now passing through the second stage of demographic transition, and while all the developed countries are in third stage. Then third feature is rapidly rising density. Another major feature of India's population is its rapidly rising density. Density of population means to the average number of people living per square kilometer. The density of population in India was 117 per square kilometer in 1951, which increased to 324 in 2001. So this makes India one of the most densely populated country in the world. This adversely affect the land-man ratio. Then sex ratio composition. Sex ratio refers to the number of females per thousand males. So India's position is quite different other than countries. For example, the number of female per thousand male was 1117 in Russia, and in India it is 927 according to 1991 census. And if we talk about the sex ratio is somewhere around 933 per thousand in 2001. If we talk about the state-wise ratio, so Kerala has more females than males. Their ratio is 1,040 females per thousand males. So this is good if we talk about the sex ratio composition. Then bottom heavy age structure. The age composition of Indian population is bottom heavy. It implies that the ratio of person in age group 0 to 14 is relatively high. So according to 2001 census, children below 14 years were 35.6%, and this figure is lower than the figure of previous year. So high birth rate is mainly responsible for the large number of dependent children per adult. Then predominance of rural populations. Another feature of Indian population is the dominance of rural population. So in 2001, the rural population was 72.2% and urban population was 27.8%. And the ratio of rural-urban population of country is an index of the level of industrialization of that particular country. So process of urbanization slow, and India continues to be land of villages. The next feature is low quality population. So low quality population means like it includes like low literacy level and low level of education and training, low life expectancy. So in India, if we talk about the quality of population, can be judged with all these factors. So if we talk about low literacy level in India is very low, right? So there are like 34 crore people in our country who are still illiterate. So low level of education and training, it is very low in India. So quality of population is very poor. And low life expectancy, we mean the average number of years a person is expected to live. In India, it was 33 years. It was increased to 59 in 1991, and in 2000, the life expectancy increased to 63.9. So decline in death rate, decline in infant mortality rate, and general improvement in medical facility have improved the life expectancy, obviously. And however, life expectancy is lower in India as compared to life expectancy of the developed nations. Like in Japan, it is 80 years. In Norway, it is 78 years. Then low work participation rate. So low proportion of labor force in total population is a striking feature of India's population. In India, labor force means that portion of population which belongs to the age group of 15 to 59. So in other words, the ratio of working population to the total is refers to a work participation rate. Then symptoms of overpopulation. The concept of overpopulation is essentially a quantitative concept. When the population size of the country exceeds the ideal size, we call it as overpopulation. So when the population of country exceeds the means of substance available, the country faces the problem of overpopulation. Like no doubt, obviously, food production has increased substantially to 100 millions of tons, but problems like poverty, hunger, malnutrition are still acute. So agriculture is overcrowded in rural areas of the country, which is characterized by diminishing returns. So these are some of the features of Indian population. Then if we see the annual average growth rate of of India, you can just check that in 2011 it is 1.6%. So and the population is to 1,210 millions. So population is also increasing, and obviously the annual average growth rate is also increasing up to some extent. But in 2011, it is the number has decreased. It's 1.6. Now, population growth and economic development of a country, how it is related, how population growth affect development of a country. So, when population grows faster than GNP, the standard of living of the people does not improve. In fact, rapid population growth has been obstructing economic growth in developing countries like India. So, first is if we talk about the first point, population growth and the rate of saving and investment. So basically, economic growth require increasing supplies of capital goods. A higher rate of economic growth can be achieved by accelerating the rate of capital formation. So increasing supply of capital goods become possible only with the higher rate of investment and a higher role of investment, obviously, after, if possible, if the rate of saving is high. So now increase in population by adding the number of people whose requirement of only feeding and clothing have to be met, which tends to raise consumption and therefore lower both savings and investments. So, Hoover, in their famous work, explained that saving rate was reduced by population growth because of increasing burden of dependency. And he argued with the high fertility rate among the young persons and declining mortality rate among the old people in the growing population. The proportion of like non-working age groups, which depend on the working or earning members of their family, increases. So since all must consume in the absence of increase to productivity and saving per person must fall. So there's a rapid growth of population by causing lower rate of savings and investment tend to hold down the rate of capital formation and therefore Capital formation. So somewhere we can say that they, under these conditions, Indian population growth actually impedes economic development rather than facilitate it. Then next point is lower growth of per capita income. So, we can see that a thief in the night, population grows, robs us of most of the gains in national income made from higher investment. So, rapid population growth nullifies our investment efforts to raise the living standard of our people. In other words, a high rate of increase in population swallows up a large part of the increase in national income, so that per capita income or living standards of the people do not rise much. So, next is population growth and marketed surplus of food grains. Another way in which growth in population is impeding economic development is its effect on marketing surplus of food grains. The marketed surplus of food grain is a prerequisite for expansion in non-agricultural employment and output. When a country grows and accelerate its pace of industrialization, it requires food grains to feed the workers who are employed in that industry. So if enough surplus of food grains are not forthcoming, this act as an important constraint on the industrial development. So this pretends the living standard of the people to rise rapidly. Now, marketed surplus of food grains is the difference between the output of food grains by the agricultural population and their consumption of them. So we thus see that the growth in population has an adverse effect on marketed surplus of food grains, and these act as a drag on the growth of output and employment in industries. Next is population growth and unproductive investments. Basically, there is adverse effect of population growth on the resources variable for productive investments. So rapid population growth forces the country to make non-productive investment. That is to invest in duplicating certain social welfare facilities such as the construction of parks, houses and all. So to some extent, the government has to increase its expenses on duplicating these social welfare facilities, investment resources for productive type of capital such as machines or for industries, irrigation and fertilizers. Then population growth and unemployment. Economic development requires that employment should increase adequately so that unemployment should decrease. The explosive growth in population has caused serious unemployment and underemployment problem in India. So next is population growth and poverty. So last but not, we can say that least the important consequence of rapid population growth is that it has made it very difficult to make a significant dent into the problem of mass poverty prevailing in our country. And this is clear from the fact that as large as about 18 million people over and above 1 billion population um, are being added to our population every year as per like 2001 census. So this gives rise to huge problem of properly feeding and clothing them. And further, as has been explained in detail in the above sections, like large increase in population and consequently huge increment in labor force lowers our capacity to make productive investment and thereby to increase productivity of labor to ensure eradication of poverty. The size of increments to population is itself of some consequence. So the vicious circle of poverty operates in this regard. Rapid population growth leads to lower productivity, which causes poverty, and poverty causes high infant mortality rate, which in turn causes high population growth. So there is like this is the major problem we can face in India. Demographic changes in India and population dividend. Like India is passing through a phase of demographic changes. So these changes are likely to contribute to some labor force in the country. So this projection and the proportion of working age population between 15 to 59 is likely to increase by some percentage. And in absolute numbers, if we talk about around 63% million new entrants to the working age group in between 2011 and 16. So it is important that the bulk of this increase is likely to take place in the relatively younger age group also. So this dividend provides India's large productive opportunities for rapid economic growth. However, this also poses a great challenge. Only if our population is healthy, educated, and appropriate skilled laborers, we should focus on human development. If we want to do something good for our economy. Some obviously you before we going further, we can check the 11 5-year plans, and you can see that national income percentage it's increasing, and per capita income is also increasing till 11th plan. Now, population control policies like overpopulated developing countries are currently facing this kind of problem of explosion. So, population growth is swallowing up a large part of the gains in national income brought about by planned economic development. If we want that future generation should have at least as much good prospects of living as the present generation, we must control population growth. And so there are some points we can work upon, and we can talk about that how we can control our the growth of population. So first is family planning programs. Right, this is an important policy measure that has been adopted by several developing countries, and India is the first country in the world to adopt family planning as a state policy. So, under family planning program, various contraceptive devices and health services are provided to encourage the couples to adopt small family norms to have fewer children. Though, like various communication through media, wide publicity is given to all the couples. Should go in only for 2 or 3 children, not more than that. So, an appeal is made to them that their life would be happy and prosperous if they have a small family. So recently, policy of providing economic incentives, disincentives has been adopted in some countries to discourage the people from having more children beyond a certain numbers, which is generally fixed at 2 or 3. So some incentives like elimination or reduction of maternity leaves and benefits beyond a certain number, the establishment of old age social security provisions such as old age pensions and all, money payments to those who opt for small families and voluntarily go for sterilization operation, and allotment of scarce public houses, plots, flats, and all. So these are some of the incentives that we can provide. Next is promotion of education. This is one of the most important point that education is very important for any particular country. Right, there is a empirical study conducted in several countries revealed that there is an inverse relationship between the fertility rate and the education, especially of women and the girls. So therefore, an important measure to reduce the birth rate is the promotion of education, especially among female population of the country. The educated men and women accept small family norm and more rarely take family planning measures such as like use of different measures they are taking. So moreover, when educated women are employed, their tendency to bear and rear more children falls. So this is very important point to have education, to promote education in country. Then social and economic development, especially for the poor section of the society. So, development is the best contraceptive, we can say that. So, this implies that with the social and the economic development, the birth rate will go down as people with higher levels of living prefer to have fewer children. First, people with a higher level of living do not need children to supplement the family's merged income. Secondly, they come to prefer quality of children to rather than quantity. And third, obviously not the least, their desire to further improve their standard of living increases, and this induces them to practices family planning measures. So these are some of the measures country can adopt to control the growth of population. So this is all about population. Thank you so much.